Level 1. The Acid Handler. The humidity in the Islamabad safe house clung to your skin like a soaking wet wool blanket. You sat opposite a man whose name was never allowed to appear in any official report. He was trembling. You pushed a thick envelope across the scratched wooden table. Inside were $30,000 in cash, unnumbered bills. That was more than he could have earned in 5 lifetimes, and it was also the price for his soul. It all started with a lie. You told him he was a patriot. You convinced him that by photographing those centrifuge parts, he was saving the country from a catastrophic war. You knew, and he knew too, that if caught, he would be hanged from a crane in a public square. You were only 24 years old. Your official title was Junior Case Officer, but in this mire you were a ghost holding a checkbook. The rules of Level 1 are simple. Trust no one, verify everything, and never fall for your own facade. You spend nights in shabby bars and alleyways. Your lungs are constantly filled with cheap foreign cigarette smoke. You learn the bump technique, the art of accidentally encountering your target as if it were destiny. You study the micro-manifestations of fear. At this level, you are the sensory organ of the machine. You see the dirt under the fingernails of history. You don't make policy. You steal the raw materials for it. You live on go bags. Your apartment is a makeshift space with cheap furniture and a secure laptop. Psychological erosion begins with the compartmentalization of emotions. You call home and tell your mother you work in international logistics. You look at the target side when he mentions the children, and you realize you'll use those very children as leverage if he intends to stop cooperating. Level 2. The Chief of Station, Field Division Head. 4 years later, the dust is gone, replaced by the sterile, cool air of the embassy in Amman. You are the Chief of Station. You no longer directly carry out the encounters. You have 5 Level 1 agents under your command, and your job is to ensure they are not killed or bribed by the opposition. The stakes have shifted from personal to political. You sit in meetings with the ambassador, a professional diplomat who thinks he's in charge. You let him do the talking. You know things about the local home secretary that, if revealed, would send the ambassador's hair turning gray instantly. You have a direct, coded line to Langley, bypassing the Foreign Office entirely. Now, you're the risk manager. When a subordinate officer reports that their assets spyware have been compromised, you decide whether the agency will spend $2 million to rescue them or leave them to face the gallows. You look at the cost-benefit analysis chart. You sign the order to cut them off. An hour later, you're dining at the ambassador's residence and laughing at a weather joke. You justify the crimes around you because they provided information that prevented a London bombing. You're no longer a ghost. You're an official with a license to use concealed weapons. Level 3. The Desk Officer. Langley Desk Officer. You trade the heat of Amman for the grayness of Northern Virginia. You return to headquarters. Every morning at 7, you walk through the gates beneath the granite CIA insignia. You are the office officer for the Near East branch. This is the level of information. You're no longer on the scene, but you see the scene more clearly than anyone else. You sit in a windowless room, a SCIF, sensitive information area, surrounded by screens. You read reports from every sub-department in the region. You see the coordinator in Beirut being exploited. You see the sub-department head in Cairo becoming greedy. You are the filter. You write the PDB, the President's Daily Bulletin. You have to condense the complexities of a civil war into 3 bullet points that a politician can understand between 2 slices of toast. This is where you learn the power of the pen. By choosing which information to highlight and which to bury, you are subtly steering the national ship. The corruption here is intellectual. You're not lying, you're just prioritizing, in a way that benefits your budget. Level 4. The Deputy Director of Operations. Now you are the master spy. You occupy an office on the 7th floor. You oversee the entire Operations Bureau, the secret force. Every undercover officer, every front airline, every shell company, and every enhanced interrogation program is under your command. The currency at this point is leverage. You don't just know the secrets of foreign dictators, you know the secrets of your own government. You know which congressman is in gambling debt, which general is taking bribes from defense contractors. You use it to protect the agency. At this level, you are the architect of the gray zone. You approve operations that lie in the legal vacuum between peace and war. The moral escalation is absolute. You no longer lose sleep over individuals. You lose sleep over the battlefield. If a campaign fails and 20 properties are executed, you don't feel grief. You feel it's a tactical setback. You prepare plausible deniability documents before the mission begins. You are the gatekeeper to the nation's darkest instincts. Level 5. Director of National Clandestine Service. You've stepped outside the confines of the agency. You're coordinating a dance between interdisciplinary agencies. You're sitting at the same table as the NSA, DIA, and FBI. Your job is to ensure the left hand doesn't accidentally cut off the right hand, or at least they do it in a way that looks like an accident. This is the level of global manipulation. You're not just reacting to the world, you're actively shaping it years in advance. You're sowing the seeds of revolutions that won't blossom in a decade. You're deciding which foreign leaders will rise and which will fall into oblivion. A mistake at this level doesn't just cost a spy. It collapses an economy. Psychologically, you are completely paralyzed. You see the American public as children needing protection from harsh reality to maintain their way of life. Your loyalty is no longer to the Constitution, it is to continuity of government. Presidents are merely temporary tenants. You are the permanent owner of the empire. Isolation is now physical. Food is tested, air is filtered. You are a prisoner within your own security system. Level 6. The Deputy Director of the CIA. You are the bridge between the deep state and the visible state. You spend half your time in the White House Situation Room and half in the Langley basement. You are the one who has to explain the unexplainable to the Congressional Oversight Committees. The rule at Level 6 is survival in the Shark Tank of politics. You have to be a master of the non-denial without denial. You testify before Congress for 6 hours without actually saying anything. You are the shield for the director. If a scandal breaks out, you are the one to take the blame so the agency can survive. You see the rottenness in the system. You see politicians using intelligence for re-election purposes. You know where the bodies are buried because you provided the shovels. You wonder if a non-liar version of yourself ever exists. But you can't stop. You're just one step away from the top. Level 7. The Director of the CIA. You sit in your 7th floor office with the best view of the forest. You are the public face of the world's most feared intelligence agency. Power is absolute, but also an illusion. You realize you are the most closely watched person in the world. Every word you say is recorded and analyzed by your own subordinates. Your relationship with the president is a high-stakes poker game. He wants intelligence to support his agenda. You have to give him the facts, even if it ruins his day. You're the one delivering the bad news. You realize the agency isn't just a tool of the government. It is less than I is greater than is less than I is greater than the government. Politicians are just actors. You're the scriptwriter and the scene setter. The isolation is absolute. You have no friends, only a partner. You have no family, only dependents. You are the keeper of the ultimate secret, and you've never felt so much like an alien. Level 8. The Architect. You're no longer the director. You've retired. But people like you never really leave. You've moved into a role without an official title. You're the architect. You sit in the library of a vast estate in rural Virginia. The phone no longer rings because you only communicate through the mailman. At Level 8, power is silent. It's the power of long-term memory. You know where every secret stash of money is hidden. You know the true identities of the undercover agents who've been there for 30 years. The price of this power is humanity. You look in the mirror and don't recognize the man looking back. He's a collection of aliases and blackened records. You realize the mission was never about winning. It was just about keeping the game going. The world outside your gates keeps moving. People go to work, raise children, and sleep soundly because they don't know what you know. You live in the shadows so they can live in the light. You sip an expensive scotch, watching the sun set over the Potomac. The struggle is over. You are the ghost in the machine. Endless continuity. In an anonymous office building in Northern Virginia, a young man in a cheap suit stands before a granite wall carved with stars. He is 22 years old, has a clean record, a high IQ, and a burning desire to serve his country. He was taking an oath. He raised his right hand and repeated the oath. He thought he understood what he was joining. He thought he would become a hero. He didn't know that he had just stepped into the humid heat of a safe house in Islamabad. He didn't know about the envelopes of money, the abandoned possessions, or the 7th floor. He thinks he's starting a career, but in reality, he's just stepping into a loop. He thinks he'll be right. He won't be. But he will learn, just like you did. The door closed behind him, The game started all over again. It never ended. If you felt a slight chill run down your spine from those secrets, it's because you've touched upon a truth that very few people are allowed to know. The power structure, the dark corners of the world, and the unspoken rules of empires, all will be exposed here. Don't let yourself be a temporary tenant in the world of information. Subscribe to the Shadow POV channel now. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next step in the ultimate power system. Join our community. Leave a comment below about which level of CIA work fascinates you the most. Would you choose the security of a desk clerk or the solitary power of a director? Share this video. If you dare to show others the true face of the world, remember, at Shadow POV, we don't just tell stories, we immerse you in their lives. Click register now. Darkness awaits you.